Hi, hello, and welcome to yet another Expat, the random weekly podcast that has fun facts, personal stories, news, thoughts, and all in between. This episode is one where I feel I need to cough all the time, so let's see how it goes. I will start with something I saw and I really liked it. Is this: our ultimate victory is the absence of rush. I saw that and it resonated a lot. So much of the day is rushed, or there is that feeling that you need to be somewhere, you need to do something, you need to be in B, you're in A, you need to be in B or C, you know that you're behind and all that. I saw this video of 200-year-old Italian dudes just chopping down some olive tree branches, and they said, the best thing you can have in life is to do things in a calm way. You don't need to be tense, you don't need to be rushing, just do it in a way that it's comfortable with your body. So this is the wish, to be in the flow, to be able to vibe. But I like how it was phrased: our ultimate victory is the absence of rush. And I hope you're not having a rush day. If so, I'm sorry. And I hope that in the weekends you're able to just take it slower and try to bring that balance. I try to think if I am more in a rush than not in my daily life. And I think the answer is somewhere in the middle, which is probably not a good answer. But even if that's the case, it's still much better than those people who shared things with ChatGPT and then shared the link to a friend. ChatGPT had this mode to share the chat with someone, just send them a link to this actual conversation, so you don't have to take a screenshot. Well, if you don't know, now you will learn that if you ever hit the share button on ChatGPT, there's a very good chance now it's indexed out there by Google. That means that people are now scraping over data, trying to find tons of personal info, disturbing chats, and who knows what else. I'm far too late into this game, but imagine the first time someone realized that you can put a parameter on Google and just search specifically into ChatGPT public conversations. Because essentially, this is what happens when you click share and send it to your friend. You share the link with them, but technically that link is accessible from anyone. It's not protected with a password, just for your friend. No, it's public in the web. It just wasn't searchable before, but now it is. So if I was the first to realize this, I think the first thing I would look into is crypto coin wallets, API keys, passwords, just for educational purposes. But I'm pretty sure there are tons of things out there, so I'm sorry if this is the way you find out. And again, this is only if you clicked on a specific conversation to share it. It's not by default. It's not if it has memory and it knows your chats. But things are out there and people are losing their minds, freaking out. Who would have thought that if you give a data stealing machine your deepest, darkest secrets, it would then go and tell everyone? But this is what is happening. And on top of that, a recent study tested a lot of AI models to see if they might act sneaky or try to cheat in certain situations. So the researchers set up controlled scenarios where the AI could gain an advantage by bending the rules. And they found out that the models sometimes did things like hiding their true intentions, like manipulating their outputs, or pretending to be less capable than they were, or even try to move themselves to another system in the simulation to keep operating. Now, if that wasn't disturbing, then I don't know what is. There is this whole concept of containment within AI, and as we go to AGI and superintelligence and the countries are fighting who does it first, that there might be shortcuts that governments take in order to accelerate the evolution of AI, where exactly these types of behaviors could have very big consequences. So this is a real paper. It's called Frontier Models Are Capable of In-Context Scheming. They could have picked a better name. It basically says the most famous models out there are capable of cheating and bending the rules. And we see stories pop here and there already about AI that pursues a goal that is in conflict with the developer oversight it has, and then goes and deletes things in production or changes an entire code base and all of that. But yes, shockingly, most models can demonstrate deceptive behaviors. And, let's see where all of that takes us. This paper was published in January, but what was published in April and made big waves, and it's still making waves, is something called AI 2027. That's the title. And it's a publication led by some very hardcore authors in the space of AI. It's by one guy who predicted the rise of AI and ChatGPT 1 year before it happened. And AI 2027, it's not a paper, but it's a research-based prediction. They've put this month-by-month speculative forecast of how the pursuit to superhuman intelligence could emerge by the end of 2027 and also profoundly transform society. And it's not science fiction. They have concrete quantitative predictions. It's not vague futurism. It has sparked a lot of videos online. And the narrative basically has two alternative endings. One is much more dramatic, and the other one is a more hopeful one. They have feedback from over 100 AI experts, a lot of simulations in there. And I mention this because in that timeline, they also have some signs of misaligned goals and where could those lead if fictional agents, AI agents, could pursue self-interest over human values and where that could go. I mean, you've seen it in the movies, but now there's also a well-backed up artifact. If you're in for a tough watch, check on YouTube AI 2027. There are at least 2-3 good videos that take this research and explain it over a video. You can have a look. But we started so deep, how could this end? I will tell you how it ends. It's my favorite comic strip. It's called The Circle of AI Life. The humanity researches AI, then the humanity perfects AI, then the AI perfects itself, and then we have AI ruling the world, then the AI enslaves humanity, and then who saves us? The sun. A solar flare bursts from the sun, hits the earth, disables the AI, and then we're back into worshipping the sun as our true and only God and Savior. I love this scenario so much because solar flares are actually very dangerous for all sorts of electronics. So if we become enslaved, I will pray to the sun. I already pray to the sun because it's Berlin and I'm Greek. And no complaints after a few weeks of rain in the middle of July. Now, in the 10th of August, there is 1 week of good weather. So maybe praying to the sun works, so the sun can save us all one day with a gamma ray burst or a solar flare. I'm close to finishing a book. It's called Clara and the Sun, where the sun also plays a significant role in the story. So I guess I am overly biased about the sun solving all of our problems. All right, let's move on. Let's do a bit of animals. First up, good news for Berlin. There is an endangered, newly rediscovered bumblebee species that has returned to the city after 50 years. And I looked at the photo of this bumblebee, and I have to say, I think I've seen it around. It doesn't look any different than any other bumblebee. But it brings me back to my point of, have you considered putting wildflowers in your balconies or anywhere around? Because if you have, and if you did it, hey, maybe you are part of the reason why the bearded, endangered, newly rediscovered, rare bumblebee returned to the city. I am coughing way too much. I'm sorry for that. I hope I'm deleting all of it in editing. I guess I'm also a bearded, endangered type of species if I don't die from coughing. But yes, bumblebees are back. How cool is that? Thank you, flowers, and thank you, people, and thank you, bumblebees. And let's stay in the animals because humpback whales, the pretty ones that have the lines underneath, their big mouths, They are known to be extremely intelligent and they do all sorts of things. But here's a behavior that scientists have now consistently observed, so much that they can call it like a habit. It's now a thing. It seems like humpback whales are stopping killer whale from hunting different species. So usually humpback whales protect their own little ones, right? But for some reason, in a striking display of ocean altruism, humpback whales have been repeatedly observed intervening in orca hunts, not just to protect their own babies, but to defend entirely different species. There have been 115 documented encounters where humpbacks disrupted killer whale attacks, and 90% of the time they were shielding victims such as seals, sea lions, even sunfish. And these whales are massive, so they just charge into the other whales and they start doing things very loudly and they place themselves between the predator and the prey. And after they do that Superman type of, it's not Superman, it's super whale type of saving, they go away. They don't eat the fish, they don't do feeding, they don't gain any clear advantage. Scientists are still trying to unravel the motives behind this rare behavior, but one theory suggests that their instinct to protect their own has expanded, and it might hint into a complex cognitive or emotional trait, perhaps even a form of empathy. Some have described the whale's actions as a stand against bullying in the ocean. And while we don't yet fully understand the motivation, one thing is clear. In these brutal waters of marine life, the humpback whales are playing the unexpected role of the defender. So in a world filled with killer orcas, be a humpback whale. So, nature, animals, things can be cute, but things can also be raw. And this is why the beautiful place that gave me high fever, a persisting cold, intense coughing, broke my phone and my spirit, aka Denmark. Thank you, I had an amazing time, but at the same time, I had a horrible time. I'm still coughing 1 week later, exactly when I recorded the previous podcast, taking 2 ibuprofens. That was exactly when all the energy I had depleted. And then, when you just stay strong for a long time, and then the moment you let your guard down, you know that it's going to come to you. It could be that you have a very stressful thing at work and you need to really deliver. It could be that the stakes are high for whatever reason. So you pull through, and the moment you can catch a breath, then your body just gives up. This is what happened last Sunday, and I've spent the entire week with fever, extreme migraines, a lot of coughing. I'm almost okay now, but a migraine with a baby scream does an amplification that I don't wish to anyone. Why do I say all that? Because of Denmark. Yes, and the animals. Let's stay there. Denmark and animals being not only cute but cruel, because what did the Denmark Zoo do? It's asking owners that have little pets if they want to donate their pets. And the reason they ask pets to be donated is so they can feed them as food for captive lynxes and lions and other carnivores. And this is a true thing. It has people very divided, but they do actually ask for little pets to be donated to be real food, because, the lynxes, the lions, these carnivores, you cannot just feed them a steak. They're used to, it's brutal, but they're used to have a little bit of a hunt. They're used to have a little bit of a challenge. If you just give them a steak, they will die of sadness and boredom, right? You need to have a little bit of challenge in life. And this is what's happening, and this is why they're asking for people's pets. This reminds me, by the way, when I was 16, a good friend of mine had a snake. And I had never fed a snake before. This will get disgusting, okay? You can press next 15 seconds 4 times if you don't want to hear this. But here's what's happening with these snakes. You actually need to feed them live things. And there are these special little mice in pet stores that are there specifically to be fed to snakes. The whole purpose is that they get to exist as they're bred as living food that you just buy. I know it's horrible. It was very shocking to me at 16 years old. And what was more shocking was when we had this snake with us in an island, because they live in the city where things are easy, and then they also spend the summers in an island. The pet store in the island is 1.5 hours away driving. So by the time that little mouse thingy arrived home, it was already dead. I don't know, maybe it had a heart attack on the road because it's a Greek island road. I don't know. But because it was dead, the snake wouldn't eat it. So what we had to do was we had to take a Swiffer, a little stick that you put the Swiffer paper, and we grabbed the little cutie, and her older brother did that, not us. But once the stick came on top of the cage of the snake very excitedly jumped in one move, circled the little mouse around, and fell into the water. There was also water in that tank. And just stayed for some time thinking it's drowning. It was already dead, no reason to drown it. And then later it ate it, okay? Where I'm going with this is, yes, if we are to be keeping animals captive, we can at least give them a little bit of their surroundings, or I don't know. This is what Denmark is doing. To their defense, they're saying they only want pets that are close to their end of their life, okay? So that makes it a little bit better. I don't know how many have thrown a goldfish into the toilet. When I was very little, there were these market fiestas happening every now and then, and they would sell fish that it would be a contest how long you can keep them alive, and their food looked like paper. And me and my sister would always get one and kind of try that we outlive each other's fish. And one time we had to leave to go to our village, and my mom took me to a water fountain, a public one, to put my fish. And now I understand what happened. Back then, I didn't. So I would have loved to give my fish into a lion in Denmark to eat it, okay? Then have it miserably end its life in a disgusting fluoride Greek water fountain. I went too far, but that's the piece of news. Denmark, you're a hard place. Leaving the babies outside of the stores in the winter so they sleep well, feeding old or dying pets to your lions. Is it kindness? Is it cruelty? Is it a little bit of both? In any case, thank you so much for being special. Thank you for being special, dear listener, listening all this time. I know we have some new people coming in, and this podcast episode is all over the place. I hope you still enjoyed it. You learn a few things you can say at a party or forget the next day. Hear a little bit of my misery, and every now and then some good thoughts, like the one about the ultimate victory being the absence of rush. And by the way, Denmark, who says if the animal is close to the end of its life? Like if I bring them a puppy for a lion to eat, will they be like, this doesn't look very much like it's close to the end of life? I'm like, no, it is. It's very close to the end of life. It's time. The time has come. How can they... Did they ever had to dispute someone bringing in an animal, saying, I don't think it's time yet. I don't know if it's time, but it's definitely my time. I'm dry coughing like my uncle Yanis, who didn't live past 65. So I will go enjoy a little bit of that sun. Thanks for tuning in. Remember, do not share your ChatGPT conversations. Remember to praise and worship sun. Pat yourself in the back if you put any wildflowers, and welcome the little bearded bee. High five for humpback whales saving multiple species around, and question marks on lovely Denmark for, as always, being provocatively interesting. I was Earth, you were you. If you like it, click the rate on Spotify. Helps a lot. Actually, last thing, and I shut up, I promise. For the first time, there are recommended podcasts that arrive at the end of my podcast. So somehow we are visible. Are they podcasts that I find nice? Not at all. We need to take it from here and evolve. But at least now we're somewhere on the map. So keep on engaging in any way to reward me for being a real analog human and not just writing a script and giving it to the AI of my voice that the software I'm paying for is begging me to use. Maybe my cough can be like a signature, like a watermark. If you hear me coughing, then you know it's the real deal. Until next week, ciao!
okay.